Now let's talk about the Michael Cohen testimony.
Boy,
what do we expect, Rick? And let me just say, I feel like today is already becoming one of those days, and they happen every few weeks, or maybe it's every 2 months, where people say, wow, big things are going to come out today. It's going to be very bad for President Trump. And then it really isn't, and nothing happens.
You know, it's funny. I agree with that, but it is kind of like, I have this analogy when you have like bad weather events, right? A couple days out, people say, well, it's not going to be that big a deal. And then like 12 hours before the snowstorm comes,
Holy
said,
crap.
by the way, it's going to be 18 inches of snow and everyone needs to stay home. So it's like, I think we had all forgotten, at least I had, that Michael Cohen was actually going to do it. And so I agree, Dan, but it's like today, he's actually doing it. Like, this is not getting postponed anymore.
This is different.
We have a live feed right now watching.
This is different. This is
but
not.
My point is, the things he says, is it really going to matter to President? Is it going to hurt
I think
the presidency?
Yeah. So, I mean, probably not.
Okay,
but,
Rick.
Yeah.
Two different things. So first of all, is he going to tell us a lot of new information that has not been out there yet? Probably not. He's going to add some emphasis, and he's already released his written testimony, so we know what his initial opening statement is going to be. And there are a few interesting things in there, and I'll just tell you, I've read the whole thing. And so what's interesting is he basically he adds to the evidence that President Trump himself committed a campaign finance violation with the one. That's right, with the hush payment to Stormy Daniels, just one payment. The other one, to Karen McDougal, was not a Trump check. That was done through American Media, the publisher of the National Enquirer. So that's different.
Mr. Pecker.
Nonetheless, Cohen himself, one of the several charges for which he's going to prison is campaign finance violation, and the amount of money involved makes it a felony. So he does add to the evidence that President Trump himself committed a felony, just as Michael Cohen did, because he has the check. He says, here's the check he wrote to reimburse me. It's $35,000 for one. That was one installment of the total 130. So that is a campaign finance violation, a felony that President Trump is probably getting. We knew most of this information before, but he's making it more emphatic.
I don't want to necessarily interrupt, but members are arguing over Cohen releasing his prepared testimony early, and the GOP is trying to postpone the hearing right now.
Now,
well, that's typical.
I know he's sitting there right now.
That's typical of Congress. The statement is already out.
Exactly, but we're not sure if it's in process.
And I want to mention very quickly, I'm glad you said that, because if he were to say something particularly juicy or if things get hot, we will go to it live and bring you the feed of Cohen's testimony. So.
I mean, can I touch upon a few more things? So you did a deep dive into the written testimony. I'm so curious about even the grades aspect, the SAT scores.
Yeah.
I know those are things that don't matter, but now, to your point,
calls Don Jr. an idiot.
Yeah, calls Don Jr. an idiot.
Well,
a lot
texture.
of racist comments.
Trump had Cohen reach out to his past schools and said, make sure they never release my grades.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so he threatened lawsuits to any school that released Trump's grades or his SAT scores, which suggests that his grades and SAT scores are embarrassing.
Now, see, my point, though, was, okay, I mean, so what?
Right.
He didn't get good grades. Shocker.
No, but I think to Rick's point, it is more texture and context, that it's not just speculation. You know, this is actual evidence that, okay, he's trying to cover up his bad record.
You know, to people who have been following all of the Mueller developments and so forth, which is not a lot of, I mean, a lot of people have opinions, but not very many people have followed every little detail so that they have the storyline in their head. I mean, this will be terrific. This is going to be fantastic and amazing theater. I mean, not often do you see the a high-level insider, confidant and consigliere to the President of the United States, coming out completely turning on the guy and saying, here's who he really is, and here's why I was in his thrall for 10 years, and here's why I did bad things. I mean, so the human element of this is going to be amazing.
This is big puss flipping on Tony, Myles.
I mean, much better entertainment value than reading
that took years.
Yeah, than reading a Mueller indictment that's 49 pages of legalese. So, you know, for people who I think this is important but haven't really followed it closely, I mean, this is going to be a way to, this puts a human face on it, and it's going to be very interesting. Yeah. I do think that Cohen is making specific charges of racism and putting remarks that President Trump allegedly made in quotes. In other words, he said this about black people in at least 3 different instances. I think that is persuasive and damning, given the specificity of it. You know, will this change anybody's mind? I mean, it potentially, you know, people who are kind of on the margin and who aren't quite sure what to think of Trump, and I think, believe it or not, I think there are a few people in that camp. But it is going to be fascinating to watch.
It seems like Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows are handling this very well, according to people who are tweeting about the event. We see Michael Cohen, but really the action is happening behind him, where we can't see all the lawmakers right now screaming about whether he should be there at all.